All right, good morning. Welcome in. We are the Out of Bounds Show, 1059 The Zone, ESPN. And the show is brought to you by the private barrel selection that just hit Briarwood Wine and Spirits, Wilderness Trail. Check it out. Nate Dogg and them went and picked it out a couple of months ago. Delicious bourbon. Wilderness Trail is the new official bourbon of the Out of Bounds Show. It's under the Wild Turkey umbrella along with Russell's Reserve and some of the other bourbons that we've been talking about. But our focus in 2024 will be Wilderness Trail Bourbon. And check out Briarwood Wine and Spirits this week. Also, the show is brought to you by the amazing breakfast biscuits at Fleetway Market and the Market Cafe in Gluckstadt. There's over 22 of them in the state, and they just opened one in Clinton, a Fleetway Market. It's open 24/7. But serving fresh breakfast and lunch daily, Fleetway Market, Market Cafe in Gluckstadt. Want to welcome in Ben Beckwith, former Mississippi State offensive lineman. He joins us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. Ben Beckwith, good morning. How are you, buddy?
What's up, Bo? I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. Where are you right now?
I am in my truck. I'm actually over near Madison, having to make a run over here this morning. Having to do a few errands over here. So.
Okay. Now, do you live in Bentonia?
Yeah, I'm in Bentonia, work at BankPlus in Yazoo City. I'm the vice president there, and I believe we are a sponsor of your show, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, I'm in the BankPlus Studio. You are a sponsor of the show. Absolutely. And have been a great partner for 18 or 19 years. So I'm glad that you let me know that. And you're with a heck of a company, too. So congratulations on that. Now, help me out here. You, how many people did you graduate with?
I believe I had 19, 4 girls. So 15 boys and 4 girls, so 19.
Okay, and that was Bentonia Academy, is that right?
No, that was Benton Academy.
Benton Academy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
big time 1A ball.
Big time 1A ball, Benton Academy, and you graduated with 19 people, 15 guys and 4 girls. That's not a good ratio, but it worked out. All right, and then you walked on at Mississippi State, right?
Correct.
Okay. Tell me walk our listeners through that process.
So in a nutshell, I had one offer out of high school. It was Holmes Jr. I was just stubborn and confident enough and cocky enough, whatever you want to call it, to say that I've always wanted to go play in the SEC and compete at the highest level. So I bet on myself. Enrolled in summer classes in 2010. Straight from high school, went to Mississippi State, went to Starkville, enrolled, walked on, had a preferred walk-on type of situation. So they asked me to be on campus that summer with all the scholarship guys. Went in, didn't know what to expect, and it was brutal. I'll be honest. My first year on campus was rough. It was I was not ready physically, mentally, in any form or fashion. But lucky for me, I was surrounded by some guys that the Lawrence brothers from Mag Heights were there, and they were private school guys and knew the process, and they kind of took their arms around me and guided me through the process. And without those guys, I don't know if I'd have made it. You got to have some guys in your corner. But got through that first year. Redshirted like most of my class did. I think we had 1 or 2 guys that did not, but for the majority of us, we all redshirted. Came in 2011 season as a redshirt freshman and lettered, played mostly special teams, a couple snaps on offense. Rinse, repeat, getting better every year, getting stronger physically, mentally, learning the process, learning the offense. Mullen's offense is pretty in depth and running no huddle. So as a guy that came from running 44 dive every play to running a spread offense, no huddle as quick as possible was, another process, and processing that in your head, and also processing who you need to block, and guys that were physically stronger and faster than you at the time was a hurdle in itself. But we worked through it. So 2012, kind of the similar deal. Led it again, played all every game. Most things we got more. I was definitely a for sure number 2 backup at this point. So I got more reps on offense. Got put on scholarship that year in 2012, going into 2013 season. And then from there, that's when I really hit my stride. I competed for a starting position going into 2013 season. Felt like I won the battle in camp. My coaches, said, y'all pretty much tied. We're gonna try Justin Malone. He's I'm sure y'all are familiar with him. He was an MRA guy.
Sure.
And he so they started him in the Oklahoma State game. Not too long in injury, out for the season. Liz Frank fracture, and from there it's history. I started every game from there on. Came in, and 2013 season was kind of an up and down year. Had a bunch of injuries at the quarterback position, and that's kind of when Dak, became Dak. Came in the Egg Bowl, won that game to get to 6-6, go to a bowl game, so on and so forth. And then 2014 was the year of the Mississippi schools. Obviously that was kind of one that'll live, that we'll all remember forever type of deal. And went into that season really with no expectations, but just glad to be starting and glad to be a leader on the team. Got voted as a captain. All those good things.
Wow.
Went
all right.
in with no.
Let me interrupt you here because I need to go back for a second, and then I want to get back into the story. We're visiting with Ben Beckwith. This is unbelievable. He played 1A academy football, had one scholarship offer to JUCO, and decided to walk on. Made it. Eventually becomes a team captain and a multi-year starter for a team that went to a New Year's Six bowl game and was ranked number 1. This interview is brought to you by Bulldog Burger in Ridgeland, Starkville, and Tupelo. When you got there and you talked about how you weren't ready mentally, physically, probably emotionally, and everything's getting thrown at you, and you're an SEC football program, how many times did you think about quitting?
Man, I'd be lying to you if I said that I didn't. It definitely crossed my mind. The most it crossed my mind was in the summer workouts. Just to be honest with you, completely. I was never prepared or never trained at that type of level. And I mean, in high school, I played every sport, right? So there was little time in the weight room. You went from football to basketball to baseball to track to rinse repeat, and so that was the most grinding, the most humbling part, seeing these guys that were that much, that much farther in front of me as far as a physical standpoint. I was just not as strong as most of the guys around me. From an athletic standpoint, I was always very athletic. That was kind of my strong suit. I could run, I could move, I was flexible, but as far as the physical part is really what made me want to bow out more than anything. But I leaned heavily on my parents, my father, and my mom, and I would call them and complain and tell them how tough it was, and my dad would say, "Look, you made this decision, you're not walking away from it." So there was a lot of that, but I thought, it crossed my mind a few times, not a ton, after I finally made that decision that, hey, this is going to suck and I just got to do it and get through this. Everything sucks at first, and then at the end it's usually, a little bit better. So that was kind of my mindset going through it.
All right,
but,
how about
definitely
this?
Crossed my mind.
Ben Beckwith, multi-year starter, Mississippi State, on the Out of Bounds show on the offensive line, several bowl games, team captain, walk on to SEC starters. Just a amazing story. Now with BankPlus, he joins us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. At what point did you say to yourself, so you started off playing special teams, which I think is a great path and one that a lot of guys won't take, but it's a super path to get on the field and start understanding I think like you were talking about, the level of intensity and speed of the game and the coaching and so on. At what point did you say, I can start here at some point at Mississippi State?
So when I was on the scout team, my first couple of seasons, I was blocking the likes of Fletcher Cox every day, which is a Yazoo City guy. Obviously, most anybody that's been alive or has a pulse knows what he's done in the NFL. I had to block him every day. So when I finally figured out that I could do it was when as I was getting better. Now he destroyed me most every day, right? I was 280 pounds and very, still undersized and trying to gain weight and was trying to block this guy every day. But so when I finally figured it out is when I finally figured out technique and figured out things to leverage, and I was getting stronger in the weight room and learning the offense. But when I was kind of getting in these blocks with him and kind of winning sometimes and getting leverage on him and getting to his front shoulder on outside zone and reaching on the backside, I was getting better every day. And my O-line coach, Coach Hevesy, he brought me in. We would always have a scout team film study after the main offensive line meetings. We would have them early in the morning before workouts and things like that. And he would point things out with his little pointer and say, "Hey, look, Ben did a good job here," which is not things Hevesy said to scout team guys ever. So you get these little tidbits from a guy that was tough. I mean, if a lot of people know he's one of the toughest coaches to play for. But I'd get these little bit of little candies. I'd call him like, "Hey man, good job. Hey man, good job. Did a good job here." And that's when he told me, he said, "Look man, you can do this. That's why I wanted you here." He said there were some things we wanted to see. Obviously, is why we didn't offer you a scholarship, but you can do this. I mean, this is something you're capable of doing and doing at a high level. And getting that feedback from Coach Hevesy and then seeing it on film, the eye in the sky never lies is kind of the saying in locker rooms, and just seeing myself get better every day and competing with a guy like Fletcher and other guys on that starting defense, and really gave me confidence going forward.
Incredible story. Ben Beckwith, former MSU offensive lineman, now with BankPlus. He joins us on the Out of Bounds show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone, brought to you by Bulldog Burger. Okay, so as far as blocking Fletcher Cox, who is one of the top defensive linemen the last decade in the NFL and may end up in the Hall of Fame, at the beginning, he's strong as a bull. He's country strong. Physically, before you could start to compete with him, what was it like going against him in practice?
It was very intimidating. Fletcher was a good bit smaller in college. I want to say he was 290, 285, 290-ish. He's probably 320, 330 now. That's a guesstimate. I don't know. I haven't weighed the guy, but just looking at him physically. But he was just so quick, so fast, so strong. I think he ran like a 4.5 or 4.6 at the combine, at 300 pounds. He's just a freak, and every day, just watching him on film, watching the things he did, he stuck out. He stuck out compared to other guys on that defense. And look, that defense was strong. Pernell McPhee and Fletcher and a lot of guys on that early, that early 2010 era team that was strong, and he stuck out even over those guys. So it was watching old film with him, when he was younger, just seeing how much he stuck out as a freshman and as a sophomore, and he left early, obviously, to the NFL. But there was no doubt in my mind just watching him that he was someone that if you could compete with him, you had a chance to start in college and be a solid starter on the offensive line, and not to mention later on down the road, really got a chance to go play in the NFL as an offensive lineman, that started as a walk-on. So
we're visiting with Ben Beckwith, former MSU offensive lineman. You're listening to ESPN 105.9 The Zone. Incredible story, from walk-on to team captain and multi-year starter in the Southeastern Conference, and several bowl games and big wins both away and at home. You mentioned Dak in 2013. and this is kind of cool because y'all kind of came up together, if you will. And
Yep.
I'll never forget this, Ben. People thought I was nuts. Y'all went down to Auburn. He got handed the football as a starter. Tyler Russell got concussed, I think, against Oklahoma State. He eventually won either his first or second start is at Auburn, who played for the national championship that year. Y'all go down there and lose with like 30 seconds left. And I thought Dak was incredible that day. And I came on the show on Monday. I said, there's a star in Starkville. When did you know, maybe you knew before, even that game in practice, but when did you know, hey, this Dak Prescott guy either has a really good chance to be special or is special?
Man, so DP came in early. He was an early graduate, in high school, came in the spring. And I'll be honest with you, and guys that have played the game and been around the programs and seen these guys, I mean, when he walked in the door, and it was, I say the door, when he walked into the locker room the first time and we saw these new guys on campus, and the first days, Coach Bayless would weigh all the new guys in that had not been on campus, and he would do it in front of all the per se, big time guys on the team that we all had workout groups, and you always tried to have the starters, depending on school schedule, work out together. So he would bring in the new guys to work out with that group to kind of get, kind of intimidate them and kind of show them what the expectation was, right? And the first day in there, this guy's just like, you see this, you're like, man, who is that? Who's that? You just didn't pay attention to recruiting back then. So a lot of times you didn't know what the guys were, who they were, what they played. You're
Sure.
like, man, that's a linebacker. That dude, he's stout. He's everybody's like, so we started asking Coach Bayless, like, who's this guy right here? Like, that's Dak Prescott. He's a quarterback, blah, blah, blah. Like, man, this dude's a quarterback. And then as we progress forward, and, he just has it. He was born with it the day he took his first breath, and he's just a natural-born leader. People can become leaders and learn to be leaders, but he doesn't. He just has it. He is that guy. And from day one in the locker room, when all of us were kind of chirping in the background, like, who's this guy? Who's this guy? What's he doing? He's throwing big weight around. He's leading this group. That was when we were like, man, I ain't seen him spin the football yet, but if he's got this mindset in the weight room, I'll follow this guy on the field, So immediately day one, we knew we had no matter what he did on the football field, he was going to be an awesome leader on the team. And then obviously we got to see him on the field, and we got to see, what he could do with his legs. At first, he was obviously more talented with running the ball than throwing, and then as he progressed, could spin the ball really well, and that was a lot to do with Mullen and progressing him through the offense. And a lot of people don't talk about this, but Dak, man, he's a genius. He's one of the smartest guys I know. He's very in depth. When he sees something and someone's trying to teach him something, he's immediately researching it and figuring out how to do it. I don't think a lot of people talk about it enough, but he's been in the league 8 years now, and there's guys that are, that know him and have been around him, like myself and all his teammates and the NFL now, and his coaches that'll tell you, like, the dude's he is a bona fide genius with the game. And I think you see that. I think you take it for granted, but in the games, he does a lot of checking and calling and directioning. And he is one of the smartest guys I've ever been around. I don't think enough people know that, and enough people talk about that and realize that's why he is the player he is at this point, and why he's progressed into one of the top quarterbacks in the league now.
Great story. Ben Beckwith on the Out of Bounds Show, now with BankPlus, walked on at Mississippi State, team captain, multi-year starter on the offensive line, and he joins us on the Out of Bounds Show. We're going to have to do this again because I think we've just dipped our toe in the water. Your story, the guys you were around, and so on. But I've got a few minutes, and I also brought you on to talk about Dak Prescott's Faith, Fight, Finish Foundation and what all you're doing and what's going on with that. Would you share with our listeners what you're doing and where they can go if they would like to participate?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to talk about it. It was kind of the main reason I reached out to Bo on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, and to help with this. We started last year, so story on this. kind of knows my relationship with DP and close, and I go out there a good bit, and our background, our history of being really close in college, and we just get a lot of requests here. I get a lot of requests every year, like, hey, can you get me a jersey signed? Can you get me this? Can you get me that? My son, his favorite player, which is all great, but it's just not something that's very easy to do, and it's not something that you want to be doing all the time when you're spending time with someone you don't get to see a lot. So me and my wife came up with an idea, or my wife, and then I was kind of wrong, but I'll give her the credit. She said, hey, why don't we turn these requests into a positive thing and make it where people can get an opportunity to get these items, these footballs and signatures and jerseys, and make it, if they donate to Dak's Faith Fight Finish Foundation, they get a chance to win this. And I said, that's a great idea. So we did it last year, and it was a hit. We raised $8,000 in 2 weeks with some jerseys and little Nick cowbell. And I said, well, heck, if we could do 8,000 with some some autographed items, why don't we do some autographed items as well, but throw in 2 club level tickets, 2 nights New Year's weekend for the Lions game in Dallas. And Dak was all about it. He said, look, I'll throw the tickets in. Let's get it all lined up. So that's what we did this year. So what we've done is we're offering up this year's package is 2 club level tickets to the Dallas Cowboys when they play at AT&T Stadium on December 30th against the Lions, which is a top NFC team right now. You get 2 night stay, 2 club level tickets, and that entry is $250. So the way we do it is we prefer if you donate straight to the Faith Fight Finish Foundation online, take a screenshot of the donation, send it to me or my wife, and then we put you in the raffle. So that's kind of how everyone's done it. And then another one, that's a $250. So we know everyone's not capable of donating $250, right? So we did an autographed Dak Prescott jersey. That's a $50 donation per raffle entry. So that's something more people are more capable of donating. We know how things are. Know things are tough, tight around Christmas. So we did that, and then we also did an official game ball. That's a $50 entry as well.
Wow.
Most people have honestly done $100. If they either do the $250 by itself, or they do $100 and do an entry for both. And then we've had multiple people send $500, $1,500, just whatever, because it's a tax deduction, right? We know that also is a benefit to the end user as well. So we've had businesses donate for the game, game tickets, so on and so forth. But all 3 are separate of themselves. So you got a $250, a $50 for the jersey, and a $50 for the ball. The raffle ends December 16th, and you can donate on the Faith Fight Finish Foundation and send a screenshot to myself or my wife via Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever you prefer.
Dude, that is awesome. Great interview. We're going to do this again. I want you in studio, in the BankPlus Studio soon.
Love it.
And hey, thanks for jumping on. Love what you're doing with Dak. Congratulations on your success, and Merry Christmas to you and your family.
Thanks, bud. Merry Christmas. Thanks for having me on, and thanks for giving me the opportunity to talk about the Faith Fight Finish Foundation for Dak. So,
he is Ben Beckwith on the Out of Bounds Show at @BBeckwith66 on Twitter, and that's where he posted about all this, at @BBeckwith66 on Twitter. Back in a second with some special guests.